We got Dustin Schaefer on the Country versus Metal podcast. What is going on?
Not much, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. This has been a long time coming.
Yeah,
Corey
for
and
sure.
Shane are going to be so excited. I don't have to ask where Sunshine is. They're always just like, good luck, good luck.
Yeah, well, kind of par for the course for us these days. It's crazy.
Yeah, dude, you guys have a really you're one of the ones that just road dog it, and it
Yeah,
seems like you're always on the road.
yeah, for sure.
And how do you manage like your free time?
Um, I mean, it kind of comes in chunks. We this summer has been a little different. We've been doing a lot of fly dates, so you know, fly in for a gig or two and fly home. And I was telling you before we hopped on. My girlfriend lives in San Francisco, so instead of flying home, I'll fly into San Francisco for a couple days, spend some time with her, and then fly home. And it just, you just kind of get in where you fit in and prioritize, your time wherever you need to be. And we get little chunks of time home. And you know, I've always got other projects too outside of the Saints. My music and trying to do a little more recording and production work for people. So it's just always a grind. Always staying busy even when we're not busy. Somehow I find work finds me, or I've always got some kind of project. So
Yeah, dude, definitely. Like now with your solo stuff and Shane, that's a lot of like writing. Like
yeah, for sure.
it's so much.
Yeah,
It- yeah, yeah. And dude, like listening to like your solo music, I definitely get the feeling you love like classic rock.
oh yeah, it's what I grew up on. What I learned to play guitar, listening to for sure.
Dude, I love Cold Shoulder. We
Yeah, man,
did
that's
with
one of my
Jade.
favorites. That might be my favorite song that I've ever cut. I have different favorites for different reasons, but that's a favorite, and that's a fan favorite too. Like anybody that actually listens to my music, they all love that song. And like back home in New Braunfels, when I play that song, like all my pals and like when they're at shows, they jam it. It's definitely a good one. It's a fun one for sure.
Yeah, I love it. Like it has like this soft, and then it's just like it just
Yeah,
gets huge. And I miss songs like that. Like people laugh when I'll say like Peter Gabriel. Like just
yeah,
massive songs where the music's not hitting too hard, but it's just the dynamic of it. It's just all across. Just I love just big songs. It doesn't have to
yeah.
have. It does,
Same.
yeah, it doesn't have to be like crazy like Dream Theater. It can just be, and I love how your mixes have this huge presence.
Yeah, well, that I can attribute that to my buddy Josh Serrato, who now plays for Co Wetzel. I've done almost all of my stuff that I've recorded as a solo artist. I've done with him. And we have very similar uh, mindsets when it comes to sounds and what we want. And yeah, he knows that I'm a rock and roll guy, and I just want it to sound massive. So that's
Yeah,
kind of it's a good exchange anytime we're in the studio together.
dude, that's so cool. You guys work together. I saw Co like three. I followed him when he was up here in the Northeast, and I kept texting Josh because
Yeah,
he was like, dude, I want to help you do better with the TikToks on getting that stereo sound. And I was like,
yeah,
I know what you're talking about because for a while, like I was listening to Co, and he was like, dude, where are you getting these songs from? And I was just like, man, I was getting them from here. And then, Apple has the spatial audio, but it wasn't just
yeah,
translating. And I was like, dude, like if I can make it sound better, I would love, because there's been a lot of podcasts where when I love like the mix and the engineering of how like sonically dynamic and huge the songs are, his name
yeah,
always comes up. And man, your song it's really cool. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah, for sure, man. He's a whiz, and he's been doing it for so long. Like him and I, we kind of grew up in the same area, and we've been playing music since we were teenagers. And I mean, he's been cutting songs. I mean, he started in Stephenville in a trailer probably 15 plus years ago, and yeah, I've just watched him progress and get better, and acquire cool gear, and he's working, I think, out of like DFW these days, and doing some, like, I mean, I think he's cut some Bailey Zimmerman stuff and like some Diplo stuff, and like he's getting his foot in some pretty cool things. So it's good to see. Always nice to see your friends get the glow up.
Yeah. Oh, dude, and that's the one thing I love about the Texas scene is because when you guys came up north the first time I saw you, before they even realized who I was, they were like, "There's a dude in here wearing a Midnight River Choir shirt."
Hell yeah.
And that's what got them, because I remember Corey was just like, "Dude, where'd you get that shirt?" And then he was like, "Oh, you're the guy from TikTok." I was like, "Yeah." And it's funny, is just the love you guys had for those guys and whatnot. It's really cool. I mean, you took them to Red Rocks. It's really cool how everybody's
like they're Corey and I both live in New Braunfels, which I don't know if you've ever been, but it's like in between. It's in between Austin and San Antonio, and it's a huge, huge music hub. Like, sort of, I mean, it's not unspoken, but ton of artists live there, and Midnight River Choir, all those boys live there, so they're our drinking buddies and like hometown homies. So
yeah,
and they're so good. Like they've been around for so long, and it's just nice to be able to get somebody like that on a bill like that and be able to share that moment with them, because that was a huge day for us too. So it was really cool.
yeah. They were the first band I met at Mile Zero, and
Yeah.
they were like telling the story. They're like, "Hey man," and I was like, "I don't remember any of that." They're like, "Yeah, you were laying on the floor of the taxi cab and hammering drinks." Yeah, dude, I'm excited. I'm going this year again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny. I was like walking around, and there was this alley bar, and who's in there? Shane Smith, and I'm like, he was having fun,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Man, you gonna be all right for tomorrow? Your headline." But
Yeah, we tend to. I don't know what year you're talking about. I know one year, man, I had I was, because like me and Bennett, our fiddle player, we'll generally ride bikes. Like we'll either, if our bus is there, we'll have our bikes with us, or if not, we'll rent the little beach cruisers. And I had a beach cruiser that year, and man, not only did I go out and just get absolutely blasted until probably 5 in the morning, I rode my bike to sound check that next day, which, like, if you're headlining the amphitheater, you got to be there at like 10 a.m. or 9 a.m., like pretty early. And my bike chain kept falling off. So like I'm definitely hungover. I'm in my swimsuit. I'm just like covered in grease. I'm just like a hot mess. And like I show up and everybody's like, "Dude, what the hell is wrong with you?" I'm like, "God, I don't want to talk about it." And it's funny, I got after sound check, I went and played. I hopped up with the motor cars at the Sunset Pier on the other side of the island, and there's like pictures of me playing Pablo's guitar, and I'm just like greasy fingers, and I'm like, "Sorry about your guitar, dude." But yeah, Key West will get you, but it's so fun. We're stoked to be back. It's just such a great time.
Yeah, it's like when people ask me, they're like, "How do you get access to artists?" I was like, "Honestly, I don't really get access." I said, "But if you want to go to Duval after the Ant, go to Duval Street, go to the bars, go to the clubs at Mile Zero, man, you're gonna run into like almost
everybody
everybody."
hangs out in Key West. Like even during the shows, like you can just walk around at the Amp or smoking tuna or whatever, Harry's, and like the people that play are gonna be just hanging out. Most of the time you'll run into people, and definitely after the show's over, we'll be out at the bars.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
sure.
I love that festival. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
I do
actually
too.
we're going down there, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a bunch of podcasts and stuff like that. So
Nice.
we'll be down there. But
Yeah.
I always laugh. Man, the first time I saw you guys, it was like I don't know if you commented. Because I got home and I made a post and I said, "Man, you know a band's good when you just have to reevaluate how you play your instrument." Because I'm a guitar player, and dude, I didn't realize all those sounds. I thought there was like a synth player. It's you. It was, and it's absolutely incredible to hear a
Yeah.
guitar played in such like a soundscape where it becomes like a big like shimmering like just it sounded so beautiful. And man, I was over on the balcony and I was leaning over so I could take a picture of your pedal board, which I was like, man, this is like unwritten law of guitar players. And yeah,
I don't
dude,
care, man. That's not a secret to me, like whatever. But it's funny that I remember having this conversation with you after the
yeah.
show, and it's funny because I've recently went over to the dark side, and I'm on a modeler now.
Oh,
So
really?
I'm on a neural, like the DSP, the neural quad
The
cortex.
quad cortex? Yeah, I have a Kemper, and I see a lot of guys going to the quad cortex, and
Man, the thing about the neural that and it's a never ending rabbit hole. It does it's so easy to use. It's just touchscreen. It's like, a child could program it. There's all kinds of things. I just got into some aftermarket cabs, which make a big difference. Like the neural cabs that they have are great, but if you go into the aftermarket cab IR world, it makes it even more realistic feeling. Um, and I'm still playing on like ways to set it up and how to use it and like different tone blocks, and it's kind of, and it's great because like I I feel 100% confident, and I wouldn't say this before, but I could show up to a session and only have that neural, and I'd be confident to record with just that. And I still run an amp on stage with like my same pedals and stuff as sort of a fail safe because I've had it, like, it is a piece of electronic, equipment. I've accidentally unplugged it, with my foot. So it's like, and it takes like a minute to reboot. So I still have like my signal chain on stage with like a couple overdrives and that Empress reverb that we kind of nerded out about. So like
yeah,
it's on stage, but I sort of run just like a basic tone, and all the stuff in the front of house comes from the neural now. So but
nice.
I still have like the similar, big mod verbs and the shimmer verbs, and there's just a lot of space for me to occupy because you have drum and bass, and like Stover, our drummer, usually runs like his toms real dead, so there's just like a lot of attack and a lot of punch, but not a lot of notes. So like a tom note's just like do do do, and then Chase, our bass player, he rolls off his tone knob, so you have that real just warm. It's not a lot of clank. It's not a lot of high end, and then you have like, so you have all this warmth from the bass. You have mostly just attack and bass and punch from the drums. Then you have like acoustic guitar and fiddle that occupy sort of the high end registry, and then all this mid range that's unoccupied that I just get to go to Verb Town, So it's like I
Yeah,
get to sort of be like the keyboard player, like you said, and just create soundscapes, which is really fun because it's fun for me because you can play little 3 note parts and make them sound like an orchestra, which is cool.
yeah,
So
and you can rip on guitar too.
yeah, I was like to shred too, like I'm a
Yeah,
big Eric Johnson guy. Like I've been ripping him off for 20 years. So I like to go into that mode and just, whatever the song calls for, it's fun to just sort of navigate that space and let the instrument do what it needs to do for that song, whether it's like be the soundscape guy, be a ripper, or be like a parts guy, or whatever. So it's fun.
yeah. That's it. I remember just showing somebody one of you guys' songs, and they're like, "Man, there's too much going on." I was like, "Oh my god!" It's like- I was like,
Five
"Man,
guys.
yeah." It's just like, no, 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 no. I was like, I was like, I feel like you're like disrespecting my religion. It like hurt my feelings, and they went to a show and they're like, "Holy," like your live show is just absolutely incredible. Of
Well,
just
thanks, man.
the energy, and man, it's just, if anybody, if you haven't seen Shane Smith and the Saints. You just got to go. Everybody, like I love how Chase played. He's not afraid to play up the neck. And it
No.
just, man, it sounds so. Everybody's so good, and it's funny, like when you realize like you really like love a band and love the musicians because you say you guys like on your bikes, like I follow you on Instagram, and I'm like, fuck, Justin, you better not fall off that motorcycle, you know. I'm like, Bennett, you better be careful on them back roads. I know where you're at. You're
Dang.
you guys need to
Yeah.
be careful, and it's funny. And I'm like, I can't be like the only one who thinks that.
Oh,
It is
I'm
cool.
sure Shane just, we keep it safe, but he's just a nervous wreck, kind of like nervous dad over there.
Dude, I'm the same way, and I'm the guy on the other side of the stage. It's just funny.
But it's also how we sort of like, it's a, it's how we keep our sort of not sanity on the road, but it's like how we blow off steam and like go
Yeah,
just sort of decompress, like hop on the bike or go on a run or go do this, especially if we're out on, a 2 or 3 week run. It's like, yeah, we got our mountain bikes with us because it's like, man, 3 weeks on the bus, you get a little stir crazy and you want to go explore nature and you want to
yeah,
get some cardio in and a workout in, and it's like you can always go to a gym, but hopping on the bike is a different kind of freedom where you can, just go rip and see parts of the world that you wouldn't. And I'm usually just trying to not get totally smoked by Bennett or Zach, like they're both rippers on mountain bikes and I'm decent, but Bennett will absolutely smoke me on a mountain bike 10 out of 10 times. That dude's a beast. So, but it's fun. We've gotten to see some cool stuff and yeah, thankfully we've kept it relatively safe. Not,
yeah,
not free of accident completely, but we, especially as we get older and guys got kids and stuff, we're a little more conscious of things that we would have done maybe 5, 6 years ago. Maybe we don't do now, just to be on the safe side. But
yeah. It's funny how that progression happens,
yeah,
whether you like it or not. When you're younger, you're like, I ain't never gonna be like that. And next thing you know, you're like, man,
yeah.
I am that. But do you also do you build amps or is this cabs? Or
So I do mostly cabs and pedal boards. I have done some actual amps, but I didn't do the chassis. I'll outsource that. So
okay,
that's something that I want to get into, but that's a different world. And it's an art form that I'm not really familiar with. So I have a guy in San Marcos. His name's Ace Pepper. He's an amp wizard, and I've done I think 3 or 4 different actual amp builds where I'll outsource the chassis to him. Like somebody will tell me what they want, I'll go to him and be like, hey, this is what they want. Can you build me this chassis? Make it look like this. Like, hey, I want it to look like a Fender Blackface, or I want it to look like a Marshall, or I want it to look like a Dumble, or this, or whatever. Even control-wise, he can do that. Well, this is the tone stack for that amp, and blah, blah, blah. So he'll build me the head or the chassis, and then I will design the cab or the combo or however it's going to be. And I think I've done, 3 or 4 of those, but mostly cabinets. I'm actually in the process of starting a cab right now as soon as I get the materials in. I haven't done one in a while just because we've been so busy, but it's cabs, pedal boards, and occasionally amps.
nice. Now,
Yeah.
if money was no object, what would be your like do you have like a perfect setup?
Man, I've never played one, but I would love to plug into like a proper Dumble. You know,
Yeah,
I would
I
want to see what the height was like. Why? Let me see why this amp is $100,000.
yeah,
You know,
right. That's exactly
but
because
honestly, man, like you say that I really, and like I said, I've gone to the neural these days, but like with if space and all that was an issue, I really love my rig. I've spent years kind of like getting to a point where I want it to be a certain way, and I got it to that point, and I run my matchless is, I still run on stage, and I've had that amp since 2013, so 12 years, going on 13 years. It's been my amp. And Jesse Duke actually has modded both of those amps. So I run the matchless, and then I run a modded Blues Junior, and I run the Blues Junior through an extension cab, like a big extension cab that I made, so it's like really chunky sounding. It's like you get the glassy sort of chimey stuff from the matchless, you get the chunk from the Blues Junior, and those together are like very complementary. And always just a simple pedal board, some drives, like fuzz, a couple drives, boost, delay, reverb. Like that's been my analog signal for forever, at least with like the Saints and the touring gigs that I've done. Like when I do solo stuff, I have a combo amp, and I run like an envelope filter, and I run like some rotary effects, and like because I do some covers and stuff, and so I have a little bit more. I've got like an octaver and like stuff that I use for my stuff that I don't use with the Saints, or so. But yeah, man, it's funny too, because like no matter what I play through, I'm gonna sound like me. I'm one of those guys.
Yeah.
So like you can put me on a Fender Twin or a Vox AC30 or whatever, I'm still gonna sound like me. So
Yeah.
but I would
Now.
like to try a Dumble. Like
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
about
It's
Dream Rig. Like give me a pair of stereo Dumbles through like some badass old Marshall cabs. Let me start there and see where I'm at.
yeah. And apparently, you have to turn them all the way up.
Yeah, I mean, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. I always. That's definitely like everybody talks about them, but like you said, like what I would love to know. Obviously, like Stevie Ray Vaughan was famously used them, and I'd be happy just playing like a Dr. Z. I've
I have
never
a Dr. Z. They're great, man.
really. What do you have? Like a Maz or a Trainer?
I
Or
have
not
I
Trainer?
don't think they make it anymore. It's the extra strength prescription junior. So they make the extra strength prescription still. I think that's about like 30 watts. The RX junior is like it's either 18 or 22. It's a single 12. It's got like four knobs, and it's a great amp to record with. It's in a similar ballpark as my matchless, but my matchless is a little warmer and like springier sounding. That the Dr. Z is it's very bright, and it's very good for recording. So like cuts through a mix on a track, but it doesn't have quite the warmth of the matchless. So
Yeah. From chain sound to your solo, your solo stuff, what's the biggest difference
oh
of
man,
your?
all of it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, I was gonna say it's definitely.
I mean it obviously like I'm the common denominator, so my style is going to sort of seep into both sides, but Shane's influences are very different than mine and vice versa, and like as a result of being in the Saints, I've kind of adapted some of those influences, and maybe some of my newer stuff isn't so far different or vice versa. But I've always, like we were talking about earlier, I've always been a big fan of just these huge rock and roll choruses and like just big guitars, and I'm also I love pop, and I love like the sort of polished approach to pop arrangements and parts, and like whereas the Saints, if you go back to the earlier Saints stuff, it's almost like even bluegrassy in some of it, because it's got it's obviously fiddle driven, and some of the earlier tracks have like banjo and mandolin, and it's more folky, and like bluegrass is a little bit of a stretch, but like it's sort of evolved. And if you listen to like the Coast album versus Geronimo's starting to get in that rock and roll world, but it still has some of that folky element. And then if you go from Geronimo to Hail Mary is even more rock and roll on some of the tracks. And if you go from Hail Mary to Norther, it's even more like kind of produced and indie. but it's still, you still have the fiddle, you still have the driving acoustic guitar, so you still have that like kind of folky root, but obviously with different, I'm the different guy. Like Coast has different players on it, but Geronimo and Hail Mary were both all the same guys minus the guitar player. So Norther would be the same guys as the last three albums, except I'm the new, common denominator as far as studio albums. So you kind of listen to how that influence changes the sound, but still trying to keep it within the Saints parameters,
Yeah.
Drawing off of like what Tim did on some of the old records on guitar and trying to keep that vibe going, but put my spin on it, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. I talked to Tim, and I was telling the story of when we were talking about your pedal board. And he showed me, he was like, this is what I used on that record. And I was just like, it was a pedal I had. And I was just like, man, as
What
much
pedal
as
was it? Was it that?
it was the TC Electronic.
Yeah.
What is it? The Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, man, I have one of them, and I just didn't vibe with it. He goes, you got to run in stereo. I was
Yeah.
like, what?
He also like, it's funny when I showed up to my Saints audition, they had his rig set up and he had and I didn't really know how to set it up because it had he had the 2 amps and then the effects loop was I think send from 1 amp to the return of the other amp or something, and I'm just like, I don't really know how to set this up, so I'm just gonna run my stuff. But yeah, kind of how he that was the catalyst to me being such a Verb guy, is because he was a Verb guy and a texture guy and some of that stuff on Geronimo and Hail Mary. So I'm kind of keeping that going and just putting my spin on it,
Yeah, dude.
So
it's obviously I mean, I'm talking to a guitar player in one of my favorite bands. It's really cool, and dude, it blew me away the first time I saw you guys, and I was just like, dude, that's a guitar. I have them. I have, you know what I mean? It's just a different world of how beautiful of an instrument, and just man, that was a life-changing show. Because it's crazy because I was
that place called?
What'd you say?
What was that place called?
Oh, there was Ardmore Music Hall.
And that was in Cleveland?
No, Pennsylvania.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, it's it's funny because I'd never been there before, and it turned out it was right by. At my job, I ran a truck into a building, and it was across the street. I was like, I've been here before. People are like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, my job, you see the gap over there? Yeah, I hit it with a truck. They're like, what? Did you get in trouble? I was like, I didn't stick around. I left.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was the night. It was the night you guys were on Yellowstone.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you guys were super excited. And, dude, which was also cool is, you guys, obviously you want to go watch it, but man, you guys stayed and hung out and talked to everybody. And that was also cool that, you get to find out that, the guys' music you love are made by good people. And
we had thankfully, sorry to interrupt you. We had thankfully gotten to, if it was the episode, that whole year of the Yellowstone thing was such a whirlwind. If it was the episode we were actually in,
I think it was
because we were in Virginia Beach when they played the song in season 4, and in season 5, the one that we were in, the one that you're talking about, they flew us out and we got to see it with the Paramount people in Montana at the ranch. So they did this whole viewing party. So we had already seen it. We had already gotten to experience that whole thing. So we knew it was happening, but we had already experienced it. So we weren't missing out on seeing it.
Yeah.
So that's why we got to just hang out. And I remember I remember that show. There's a funny video of Chase playing fiddle at I think in the encore. Like he just
Yeah.
picked the fiddle up and he thought it was muted and he just starts yanking on it. And it's
Yeah.
like so funny.
Yeah, I set up a camera on a tripod. I have the entire show. I don't that was with Myron Elkins, which
Oh, yeah.
his voice,
Dude.
like
it's
when he
great.
came and I was like, holy, like
Yeah,
I'd heard it before, but live, I'm like, man, and everyone was just like, they didn't, the people didn't know who he was when he started singing. People were like,
Yeah,
oh my god, yeah,
for sure.
he that was a great opener. That was a great show. That started the obsession where like, man, I'm definitely, if you guys are around, I'm coming. That's like, But it's funny when you're in Philly. It's probably a good thing we didn't hook up. I mean, I
Yeah.
had a lot of fun. I don't know, like there was this kid singing all like Cody Jinks' song. I mean, a young kid, and man, he's like miming the guitar and everything. And I'm like, man, this would make this kid's night if Cody could just point at him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just walked, liquid courage because I never gonna come up to the stage. I walked up to the stage and I just was like pointing at the guy. I thought he was with the venue. He was like, hey, that's all I heard. I didn't know what he's saying. I was just like, but it turns out Cody recognized and was like, hey man, they did a picture together, so that was cool. And man, but like I woke up, I was like, oh my god, I think I kind of like embarrassed myself. But like the next night, I went on Tanner's bus and I told him the story. He goes, man, you're good, dude.
You're
Like
good.
hey, you were trying to make some kids' night, and
Yeah.
But I didn't
He's
realize.
cool, man. Like he's a super nice guy.
Yeah, I didn't know the guy that was yelling at me was with Cody. 'Cause
Oh.
at the next show, I was like, hey, I'm sorry. I swear I'm a nice guy. I wasn't yelling. It was just loud, and it was cool. But yeah, man, dude, we were late to that show. I was so mad. Bunch of motorcycles. Zoom, zoom, zoom. I was like, man, the highway's going to be shut down. Something's going to happen. And next thing you know, you just see, parts of motorcycles, and the highway was shut down. And, man, it sucks when you're walking up to a venue and you can hear one of your favorite songs. I was like, but
Dang.
man, it was great to see you guys. It always go to a Shane Smith and the Saints show, and dude, I would love to see one of your shows because, like, man, "Miserable's" another song of yours I like.
Thanks, man. I like that one a lot. I have to. That's one that I don't play all the time because I need another guitar player to do that one. Like, there's
Yeah.
a lot of my songs, most of my songs, depending on when I'm playing and where I'm playing and who I can get to play with me, sometimes I'll be a trio, just drums, bass, guitar, and me. Ideally, I'll have Pablo play with me, and we'll have like two electric guitars, and then I have that like Miserable is one that like we always try to incorporate. He plays that on baritone, actually. He plays like the kind of the keyboard parts on like a baritone guitar with like this cool rotary effect. So it doesn't necessarily like sonically sound like what it sounds on the record, but the parts are there and it's cool live. Like it's a cool interpretation of that song live. And I love that song. It's very 80s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, I love that. I love that sound. And Signs, that's a jam.
Thanks.
Like,
Signs is an old one, man. Signs is a song that I wrote a long, long time ago, and like I put out an album in 2016 that I like self-produced and recorded, and I've since like yanked it. Like it's not on. I still have like physical copies of it, but it's not on the like Spotify or iTunes or anything. But I've repurposed a handful of those songs, and Signs was one of those.
okay,
Yeah.
so that was before. Man, I'm terrible with name. Detached. Is that
Disconnected. Yeah.
Disconnect? God,
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. Yeah. That was before that one. Yeah, I think Disconnected was 2017 or 18, and this other one was in like 2015 or 16. It was like and I call it an album, I mean, because it had 11 songs on it, but it was more like a demo.
Okay.
And I took it off. Like the songs were good. It had a lot of good songs, but just, I mean, it sounded like a kid recorded it at home because that's exactly what it was. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I've repurposed. Signs is one, a song called Hold On, which my buddy Russell Bisbee wrote. That was another one that was on there. Just that version on that album was so different. And then I've got a song called Wild Nights that was also on that one.
Yeah,
Um,
I did a video on that one.
yeah, man,
Yeah,
that was
that's
a
a cool song.
song. Yeah, thanks, man. That was installment. That might have been my first installment on my one man band project. I think I've got 4 or 5 songs out now where I'm playing all the instruments, and I think Wild Nights might have been the first one.
I didn't know that. That's all you?
Yeah, yeah. So I've
Wow.
got 4. I'll pull up my Spotify. Wild Nights. I've got a song called Azalea Drive. I've got a song called Runaway, and then my most recent one called Shinin' are all, I think maybe that's it. Maybe 4. So 4 songs that I've done where I'm playing everything, which
Wow.
has been a fun project. And then the most recent one, Shinin', is the first one that I've done where I recorded everything at home. So like I recorded it, mixed it, everything up until like I sent it to get mastered, but I did it all at my house and I mixed it myself, and it's like, so now I'm officially at the point where I don't have to go to a studio to make music if I don't want to. I can do it at home. I've got the tools, I've got the resources, I've got enough knowledge to make it sound good. I mean, and I'm still learning all that. There's so much room to grow and progress, and you know, I can always make it sound better, but I go back and listen to that. It's like, that sounds good. Like, I'm proud of that. I did that myself. So I'm at that point. So it's nice.
Yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
it definitely does sound great. A funny story, when I do a video on the song, I always like add it to a playlist. And the other day I was listening to the playlist and I was like, oh, I thought it was Austin Mead, and
Oh, yeah?
it was you. I was like, it was like, it's Dustin. I was like, and then I was like, let me listen to Austin Mead. I'm like, dude, the voices sound the same. I think it was more just the guitars and just
Yeah.
the style.
Well, Austin's a rock and roll guy, like
Yeah.
me. Like he doesn't even really do much in like the red dirt world anymore. I think he's like on rock festivals and like going that route. I think he still plays some of the same venues, but like I'm not saying he's abandoned red dirt or whatever,
Yeah.
but it's just stylistically like that's where he's gone, and like great for him. Like I applaud, kind of like go in your own direction and finding that and not necessarily like falling into like trends per se.
Yeah.
I like Austin's music. It's funny, he's another guy, like killer musician, plays a lot of instruments. I did a South by gig 10 years ago. He played drums for me. He's a great drummer.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
I
'Cause
didn't
we're
know you
both
played drums.
we grew up in the same town. So his mom, I think, teaches in Victoria, and I don't think I think he's originally from Brenham, but grew up in Victoria. So we kind of came from the same area,
Nice.
same sort of school, if you will, quote
Yeah.
unquote.
Yeah, I enjoy his music. But yeah, it's since you're like normally you're the only guitar player. If you had to bring a guitar player on, who would be your go-to guitar player?
Well, like I said, he's my guy these days. He knows my songs. He's one of my best friends. He is fun to have on stage. We can kind of push each other. I mean, there's so many great guitar players around, yeah, he's my first call guy for sure. And I mean, if he wasn't available, I've got a buddy in New Braunfels, Steven Marcus. He played for William Clark Green. I think he's playing for Blue Edmondson now. Another killer guitar player who's like got the same same mindset as me musically. We'd have fun together. Josh, I'd love to play with Josh Serrato.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, a lot of great guitar players in the state of Texas for sure.
Yeah, dude, definitely. Man, Josh is a great one.
Yeah, he's killer, man.
Yeah, it was really. I got to see Co in Texas, and man, it was really cool of just how that sound. It definitely like one of the like. I like the record, but man, when you hear it live,
I haven't seen Co live in a long time. I don't know if I've even seen Co with Josh. The last time we did something, man, we did a run with Eric Church a couple years ago, and Co was on that run with us, and I don't think Josh was in the band yet.
yeah, that makes me wonder if he was at Texas, because I know you guys were there at Texas, at the Murder Speedway.
Yeah,
But
but we weren't. We wouldn't have been on the same day as Co.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was the next
We were
day.
we were only there for the day. We were in and out. Like we played with Zach Bryan, and I'm trying to think of who else was on. Oh, Charles was on the bill with us that day too.
Yeah.
Wesley Godwin. Yeah, man, I don't know if I've seen them with Josh. It's been a long time since I've seen Co live. I've always been a huge fan of Co's music. I like Co's music.
Yeah.
Another guy, like, it's like that rock and roll sort of, like, even more so, like, as he's gotten bigger as an artist, like, he's kind of gone more into the pop world, like, not country, like, he's got a twang in his voice, because that's just who he is and where he's from, but, like, his music is not, to me, like, not country, or at least a lot of it's not country.
Yeah.
So, but country these days, what's considered country is like this huge umbrella of just like all kinds of stuff,
Yeah, definitely. That's yeah. It was cool to see they finally like kind of split up the genre for the awards, because there's definitely there's a ton of like you got your new metal and heavy metal and rock and roll, and then there's all these just spaces for everybody that lives in their space, and then it's just like you said, it's just a gigantic world where everybody is, and I don't think like country music fans will ever be happy of who wins those awards, because it's always,
dude, who cares?
I know.
I mean, and I'm not saying who cares about the awards, but like people are always going to be salty about something. They're always going to, that's not country, and like, okay, cool, maybe you're right, maybe it's not country, but it doesn't mean it's not cool.
Yeah.
It's like, and the artist, I mean, I don't know if you've seen this, like, little, like, Charlie Crockett, Gavin Hawk beef, like, who cares, like, who's more authentic, or where you came from, or, like, who's a real cowboy? It's like, just make cool music, and
Yeah.
you either like it or you don't. Like, that's always been kind of my stance with that sort of thing. It's funny, because it's like, and they're both getting a bunch of publicity out of it, so it's like it's all good for them, like it's they're getting spins and they're in the algorithm, and it's beneficial, all the attention and the whole thing. I just think it's like kind of funny, because it's just they're going back and forth about like who's what and who's who's like, man,
who's more redneck, which I don't get, because like people they call Charlie Crockett the cosplay cowboy because he's on a train singing reggae music, and I'm like, I recently found out that I love country music. I love what like you guys are doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like dude, like if someone asked me, like I play country guitar now. Like it's okay to find a new love and just hit that tarmac at 100 miles an hour and just you know what I mean? Like
yeah, for sure.
Dude, hearing Hail Mary, like, it changed me. And hearing the mountain, you know what I mean? Dude, I couldn't believe you guys opened up with that. I was like, oh my God, I'm jumping off the balcony. Yeah. And then, but I had Gavin on the podcast. The dude's totally respectful. I think it's Gavin on stage, Gavin off stage is a totally, you know what I mean? Like,
well, he's like, I mean, and I don't know the guy, but I can only assume. I mean, it's a, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way. It's a bit. It's a show. It's entertainment. It's like
Yeah,
he's selling this experience of like people throwing. It's kind of like the Treaty Oak guys. Like like they're a fun band. Like, but it's a beer throwing wild like, and that's what they do.
yeah,
So cool. If you're about it, great. If you're not, cool. Like I the internet keyboard warriors just crack me up. Like
yeah,
it's
dude.
always just so funny. Like you really like took time out of your day to hate on this person who's 10 times more successful than you'll ever be. So,
Yeah, yeah. It is amazing when you look at his videos on TikTok where he's just miming his own songs and the views. He's a master at
yeah.
marketing. You can't take that away from him.
No.
He found what worked, and man, yeah, it's amazing. Like the power of social media anymore.
Oh
It's just
man, it's crazy.
it's also yeah. It's also it's got to be frustrating too. Like you know what I mean. Like when you're trying to promote your solo work, and it's like when you really get down to it, and like you have a great song, and just you spend all that time, you do all these edits, and you do a video, and you just watch it do nothing. Like
Oh, I mean, that's kind of like the story of my life
seriously,
as a solo artist. But like, I'm also in a fortunate place where I I make a good living with a successful band,
yeah,
so I don't have to like, if only a few hundred people listen to my song or 1,000 people listen to my song or whatever, like, cool. Like I only made $50 off of it. Cool. This one that I just did cost me $0 to make. So that's a good thing because it used to
yeah.
cost me $1,000, $1,500. To be in a studio for a day is anywhere from 600 to 1,000, and then to pay someone to mix it, that's another couple hundred, and then that's like not assuming things like mastering and artwork, and like it's expensive if you do it the old school way of like going into a studio and hiring a producer and like doing it that way. It is expensive. You're going to spend, if you do a whole record like that, like a what would be like a big budget like major label type. I mean, you're gonna spend 50 grand, 100 grand making a record. So can you
Yeah.
imagine doing that and then getting 100 spins and making
Oh,
$4 or whatever? Like, so thankfully I'm in a place where, I speak only for myself. Like as a solo artist, I can make music for the love of making music, and I don't have to necessarily do the TikTok lyric video algorithm-y kind of stuff, which seems to be like necessary these days to get noticed.
yeah.
And I'm just like, well, that's not me, so I'm not gonna do it. And if it means no one listens to my music, so
Yeah.
be it.
I'll handle it for you. I
Yeah,
got you.
I appreciate.
I'm a fan.
Yeah, well, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, and as a musician in a band, and you have your solo work, and knowing band shenanigans, do they ever just mess with you? They'll put on a song or something that they
Not
know.
really, man. I think
That's awesome.
I think if anything, I mean, yeah, they'll. Yes, there's moments where, like, they'll like sing my song in a funny voice or like, but not like it's not ever like a full on roast. And I think if anything, it just garners respect that I'm doing something outside of what we do as a band musically. So,
Yeah,
but I mean, there's always room for ball busting in our line of work for sure. So,
yeah. There's one lyric in particular. I thought maybe they would. It's
but
never been accused of moving too fast. Of one of your songs, that's
yeah,
how it
it's called
started.
"Wait for Me."
Yeah, and that's actually like a really deep song. And I heard that because when when I was at Philly, and I was telling Corey about, I'm trying to get Sunshine on the podcast. He's like, Good luck, dude. And I was like, I get it. You know what I mean? Like you're texting me, you're like, dude, we got to be in like Europe and just bouncing around. And it's funny, like talking to Shane, he was like, good luck, man. I'm like, I got you, because
Yeah.
I just remember the first time when I was talking to Shane and Bennett, I was like, dude, where's Sunshine? And they're like, go over there. Who knows? He's out, he's walking around. Good luck. But it's just,
But that's any of us at any given time. We don't like, after a show, we it used to be when we were at a certain level, we would generally all go to the merch table after a show. Now, especially if we're like opening at a, like if we're on a Jinx show or like, doing a bigger one, like it'll generally be Shane only, and we'll do like VIP things like beforehand where we'll take pictures and all that. So at that point, when we were all going to the merch table after the shows to like meet people, we were all accounted for. But nowadays, like after a show, we all do just different things, and depending on where we're at and who's got friends in town and who's doing what, like, maybe we're going out to a bar, or maybe we're going straight to bed, or maybe we're in the green room eating because we haven't had dinner that day, or like there's no telling. And everybody's, we're kind of all every man for himself at that point, because I mean it's just kind of the way it goes. I mean, we spend so much time together, and after a show, like that's our time. So it's like whether you want to be social and go have drinks and meet people or not, it's kind of up to each person, and we kind of find balance in that, especially on a long tour. If we're out, like I was saying, if we're out 2 or 3 weeks, like there's definitely going to be some times where we step off stage and go straight to the bus, and like we're not going to talk to people. And it's not a dig on anyone. It's just like we're kind of a little spread thin and just need a day to just be hermits and like kind of regroup and recharge. So
oh, definitely, especially when you look at your tour releases. It's a million miles that you guys are covering, and continents and countries.
Well, and the crazy thing is, like lately, like I was saying, we've been doing a lot of fly dates, and if you look on paper, it's not a lot of shows necessarily, but it's a lot of travel, a lot of 3-day weekends for one show. Like we'll fly in on a Friday, show Saturday, fly home Sunday. So it's like you're gone 3 days for one show. So it's a lot of that. And this year in particular has been a lot of that. Just because we get a really great festival offer somewhere in, the Northeast or wherever, and it doesn't make sense logistically to tour up to it, because that used to be kind of the deal. It's like if we got something in Montana on a Saturday, we'd try to do like maybe do a 4-day like Amarillo, Denver, Salt Lake, Montana type situation or whatever, but that doesn't always work out. So this year's been a lot of fly dates for festivals, but it's been really cool because we've done some really great festivals. So
and have you prefer this style of touring over
I
doing like the road dog?
I don't. I think generally we would, and I can't speak for everyone, but I think most of us would like to be at a point where we do, like my ideal tour scenario is like you're on the bus, you're gone for 2 or 3 weeks, and then you get home and you're off for 2 or 3 weeks, and you do chunks where it's like, because then you can like get into a routine. You can be on the bus, you can have your space, you can, like when you're on the road, on the bus, on a tour, you find that stride, and you get really tight as a band. And like we're a tight band, we play together often, and we know the songs like the back of our hands, but if you catch us from a 2 or 3 week break where we haven't played, like we're not as tight as we would be a week and a half in a tour of playing every single day. Because like you just lock in, muscle memory,
Yeah.
and you just find the stride. And I think I would prefer to do that. It's like be out for chunks of time and be home for chunks of time. Because then chunks of time at home, you can utilize that time a little bit better. Whereas like a fly day, it's like, well, I leave Friday, I'm home Sunday, I have 3 days at home, then I'm gone for another 4 days, then I have 4 days at home, and then it's like you get time at home, but it's like as soon as you fall into that routine, you got to go back out. So,
Yeah.
but there's good and bad to both of it. But the main thing that kind of sucks about the fly date thing is like we usually, if we do fly dates, we try to fly home as early as possible on like a Sunday. Let's say we have a Saturday show, we're going to catch the earliest flight home because guys have kids and families and they want to get home to their people. So you may get home or get to your hotel at 1 a.m. and then you got to set an alarm for 3:30. That sucks, but
Yeah.
it's just kind of the way it goes. And it's either you do that or you sleep in and you don't get home until 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So what's your priority? The guys with the kids, they're just going to like, all right, well, I'm going to be tired so I can have the whole day with my family. A Sunday with my family, I'll get home at 11 or noon instead of late afternoon.
Yeah.
I'll just be tired. I'll roll on 3 hours of sleep. And it's just kind of like the way we do it these days.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely get both sides of doing the chunks and then the airplanes, and I guess as the audience we gotta stream more, we gotta do more so you guys can fly private. Get
Man,
yourself.
we're trying. We do get to fly private every once in a while. It's mainly because
That's gotta be so great.
it's so great, and it's like not even like the plane is cool. Don't get me wrong. The jet itself, badass. What's great about flying private is if your flight is at 9 a.m., you can roll up to that airport at 8:55.
Ugh.
There's no security. You just walk on that plane and go. That is the greatest thing about flying private.
Yeah, to me, that's amazing. Because God,
It is everything. And it's always direct. You don't have to worry about connecting. You don't have to worry about checked bag fees and like going through like that whole circus, and like it's just, man, it's so nice.
yeah,
And the plane is cool. Like the plane itself is badass. So
yeah,
you get to drink, you get to eat, you get to hang out and shoot the shit with your boys, you get to feel like a boss, like it's fun for
yeah.
sure.
It's. I just remember my one friend, which is funny, is his nickname Sunshine too. He was like,
Hell yeah.
he was like, he's like, dude, I'm going on my first airplane ride, and I was like, cool, cool, good for you. Just thinking like he's flying somewhere like on American Airlines, and he sends me a selfie. He's in the cockpit drinking a Bud Light at the
Damn.
controls, and I was like, dude, where are you? Like, where? What? He's like, I'm on my boss's jet. I was like, your first flight is private, and he's like, oh, this is awesome. I'm like, dude,
He's ruined.
yeah,
He's
I'm
ruined
like,
anytime he has to fly commercial.
yeah, I'm like, dude, that's. I thought I was gonna, oh man, they prodded me, and it's in the cattle chutes, and it's terrible. The last time I flew to Texas, I saw like my cousin. I was like, not today, dude. Like there's 2 lines open. I need to 100% get through this line as fast as possible. I love you, but I'll talk to you
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. Like,
Yeah.
it's like Seinfeld with the soup. You just
Everything.
everything prim popper. Here you go. Like, that's not what I need. I'm like, all right, I'm sorry. Like, why's your necklace still on? It's like, oh, I
Well,
forgot.
the thing that sucks about, like, for me personally, and yeah, I guess Chase and Shane, is like we all have to check stuff. Like Bennett carries his fiddle on. Zach generally just takes like all the drum stuff's backlined for fly dates. So like they just get to go straight to TSA pre-check, walk through
Yeah.
security. That's usually pretty chill. But if you have to go to the counter and check stuff, it's just like an extra headache, and you might get hit with a long line. And luckily, like at least I'm working on other airlines, but like for Southwest, like we're all A-list preferred, like got priority, so I walk straight to the front. Like that's nice, but it's still just like, and getting off the plane, like not checking a bag, like you get off the plane, you walk straight out the airport. But like we were in, I forget where we were. We flew into some airport, like a relatively small airport, and like my guitar, for whatever reason, only my, like Shane got his guitar, Chase got his pedal board. For whatever reason, like my guitar and pedal board just took like an hour to get to baggage claim. Like they had like a staff shortage, and like they unloaded half the plane, and then the staff had to go to another plane. It's just like shit like that. Just, it's a pain.
Yeah. I love the travel, just not the art of getting there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's where I'm at my worst. You know, it's like, just let me get there. But yeah,
Sure.
I wanted to ask you, as a guitar player, what's like the one, did you have like a moment where like you learned a song or learned a riff that you were like, I'm badass?
Yes. And it's not like it wasn't any particular song or anything like that, but I do remember I was probably 12 or 13, and I was like, I was the first probably 3 years of guitar, like that's all I did is I would practice in my room for hours and hours a day. I would listen to old metal, like a lot of hair metal, Metallica, like that kind of, and I would just learn that stuff and like pick apart those solos and stuff. And I had this little cassette player that had a record button. I didn't even have a microphone. It was just like a built-in like room microphone, and I would just put a blank cassette in and I would record myself and listen back. And like it's funny, like when you start recording yourself, is like you realize how bad you suck. It's like you think you're good, and then you record yourself. You're like, oh no, that's bad. But I do remember like recording myself, and like it wasn't a song or anything. It was just like this fast, like shreddy metal lick, and it was like it sounded like the guys on the records that I was emulating. And I listened back like 10 times, and I was like, wow, I did that. Like, because up to that point I was getting close, but it was still like kind of a little rough and janky, and like I wasn't smooth, and I remember that moment. I was just like, whoa, like it kind of clicked. And yeah, I would have been probably 5 or 6 years into playing guitar, but only about 2 years into playing electric guitar. So yeah, I was stoked. And
Yeah.
then that was enough for me to be like, all right, I'm good at this, or good enough like to do it. And so that was motivation for me to just keep doing it. And then not too long after that, I started playing in bands and just doing that thing for fun. And then all through high school, and then when I went to college, I was in local bands, and would get paid in beer, and make my $30 from ticket sales or whatever. And then that led to playing on a semi-professional level, and then getting a professional gig, and then that progression just kind of, so it started from that and then just took off. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
It is cool. Like when you want your fingers to do something and they do it.
Yes.
That's a very cool moment, because after that, it's just how much time are you willing to put into the instrument?
For
'Cause
sure.
it's endless. Is there anything on the guitar, like playing wise, that like you're working on currently? Because like right now I'm trying to do like the Brent Mason, Johnny Hyland,
Ooh, yeah.
chicken picking stuff. Even to the point where I got I went on Amazon and got the press on, the glue on nails, and
Are you doing a thumb pick?
I got one. It's so like alien to me right now. Every
Cool.
once in a while, I'll be like, man, I get it, and then it's like it's weird, like I lose it. But yeah, like I watched a bunch of Brent Mason things. I got the same thumb picks and whatnot, and
Is it the Herco ones?
oh man, I'm like,
The Herco ones are the ones that are actually shaped
So,
like, because, okay, I would look up, I think it's Herco is the brand,
Herco.
like HERCO or HERCO. And they're shaped like a regular pick. Like those are like that looks like the Dunlop one.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Dunlop one.
yeah, the blue
Yeah.
John Law.
So the Herco ones are like more of like an in between like a regular guitar pick and that. I used those for a long time because before I started playing with Mickey, because that was my first pro gig, I was doing
Hmm.
the chicken picking thing and I used thumb picks.
Nice. I think
Um,
I'm thinking.
I would just like just try them out. It might be a little more comfortable. It's not as foreign as like the skinny thumb pick.
It's kind of like
Yes, it's like that, but it's all one piece.
okay, yeah, this is Black Mountain.
That's cool. I've never seen those before.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
got like a spring.
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, next time I see you, I'll give you one.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I'll
That's my
trade you.
thing. Like Bucky from Taylor Honeycutt. I always give him picks. I say this is gonna be our thing. He's like, cool, man. I handed him a 6 mm gravity pick. He's like, dude, you play with these? And I was like, yeah. I said it just eliminates like my finger from floating for do the chicken picking. But
Yeah,
now I'm back down to like normal size where 6 mm is like huge. Like that's like a if you want to play like bass
fat.
really fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But yeah, is there anything, any like skill like you're working on or with your playing?
Man, I'm always trying to get out of my own little boxes. So
Dude,
like right now,
100%.
like I always go. You've heard of a guy named Guthrie Govan?
Oh, God.
Like, I mean, I'll go
I'm
back and
not
listen
worthy.
to. I mean, yeah, dude, none of us are worthy. That dude is on such a different level. But I'll go back and listen to even just one song of his or whatever, and I'll just like try to pick apart little phrasing things and like little chromaticisms and whatnot, and just try to like practice getting away from because like I've got my habits and I can just mindlessly shred
Mm-hmm.
forever and just like be on these like little pentatonic Eric Johnson-y licks for hours and not even think about it. So I'm trying to like get away from that. And I would say these days, man, like as far as guitar playing, I am trying to look at guitar as a composition piece rather than like a solo instrument. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of where my like as a someone who's trying to produce and like compose, like how can I use this to create a song in a different way? Like what kind of sound or like what kind of effect or like even if it's just a simple part or something like even like somebody like a Jack White that like, stylistically is somebody I would never like. I like Jack White and like the White Stripes and the Raconteurs and all that stuff, but like it's not in my wheelhouse. But looking at like what he does, like tone wise and a part, or like a band like I'm trying to think. Like Cage the Elephant or like those kinds of bands that like it just a different. I'm just trying to always broaden my horizons and
Yeah.
find new perspective on the instrument, like ways to. Because I can play solos. I can I've got my thing, um, and I'm just trying to and like having the neural that's huge because it's like I've got this endless box of tones,
Yeah.
whether it's like crazy octavey stuff or like these wild effects or whatever, like things that I don't have on my pedal board, or you can even just like move stuff around in order that'll make these crazy sounds, and it's like, well, okay, well that's weird. I don't know if that I like that in a normal standpoint, but maybe it's usable for something.
Yeah.
Maybe it's usable as like a in a bridge on a song, like a dissonant, like ear tension kind of thing. Like just trying to think in terms of that, I guess, is where I'm at with guitar playing these days.
Yeah, and man, like you said, Guthrie like when he makes the guitar sound like a violin, it's like it's incredible. Like think of it like that, because like yeah, as a guitar player, like you get stuck in the boxes, and like you said, you could do that all day, every
All
day,
day, yeah.
and people come up to you and be like, "Dude, you're amazing," and you'll be thinking like, "I'm not," like it's weird how like you'll get to guitar's weird. You get to a point where you're like, I know, like I get to where like I'm not happy with myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like I should be, 'cause especially when you watch somebody else, like watching you play. I would, like it's just like, ah, man, there's so much more I need to be doing, and because like
There's always more, there's always going to be more, and you have to like, and I agree with you. Like I've had those moments where I just like, I've seen somebody play that's amazing, and just like, I don't want to touch my guitar for a week.
yeah,
But instead of like putting yourself down, it's just like use it as an opportunity to learn and expand your headspace on it, and just try to, like, that's my whole sound is I've, and every guitar player, every musician ever, their style is just bits and pieces that they've stolen from other artists and made their own. Like that's
yeah,
all it is. You make your style. Like I grew up, Stevie Ray Vaughan was an early influence. Eric Johnson was an early influence. I mean, I listened to a lot of Metallica, so I got Kirk Hammett, and like I listened to a lot of Rat. Oddly, like so Warren DeMartini, their guitar player, like all these weird things. And Van Halen, like huge Van Halen fan, like my style is just a stew of those guys
yeah.
that I've just accumulated over the years and just try to emulate like things about their playing that I like. And that's anybody. So you just try to not get too down on myself if I ever feel like I suck, because every guitar player and every musician has that moment. I feel like even the best guys in the world probably have moments where they're just like, God, I'm trash on this instrument, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Try not to
funny.
be complacent and just try to improve. Use it as motivation to improve or change whatever you're not liking about your playing.
Yeah, definitely. And man, I know if I was in your band, I definitely would just, you see Bennett rip a fiddle solo and be like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh, that'll keep you doing your
For
exercises
sure.
and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's an instrument that,
Oh, dude.
my God, like I've never seen violin played like that, and like the first time he comes out, and it's just like, oh, this guy goes hard, you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
incredible. Like I bought one, and I was just like, I read about it. It's open tuning. You pick up an open tuned guitar, you can just slide your finger, and you're a Delta blues master if you know how to
Right.
play. You know what I mean? Like you can make music right off the get go. I for 100% thought, because like Bennett and like Kyle Nix, I was like, dude, I really want to get down with the fiddle, and I bought it. Garbage. It was terrible, and then I
It's
was
so
like,
hard.
maybe it's the strings, and I had no
It's
idea
so-
how to string it. It was terrible.
Well, so funny that you kind of mentioned the tuning, because a fiddle is tuned, like a classic fiddle tuning is tuned the same as a mandolin, which
Okay.
is basically upside down from a guitar. So if you were looking like if you're looking at a guitar neck like from the top down, you have E, A, D, G, B, E, right? So on a fiddle or mandolin, it's E, A, D, G. So if you ever want to learn fiddle, I would recommend messing around on a mandolin and picture it as an upside down fretboard, and that will get you starting. Because I'm not a mandolin player, but I can play some mandolin stuff. Does that make sense? Like, no one would hire me on a mandolin session, but I can play chords and I can play little simple melodies. because I know like, okay, this is a G. I like you just look at it like an upside down guitar and
Huh?
try to fret it that way. And that will get you familiar with like some simple shapes and chords and melodies.
Really?
Yeah,
Do you like the mandolin? That is like the
I
one.
do. It's hard to play, man. It's just like
Really?
such a tiny little like you're just like,
Yeah. Dude,
little.
that is the one instrument in the country world that I just don't jive with. It's got to be played by like the Dirty River Boys or West
Yeah,
Texas Exiles. It's man, I
it's
love
hard.
Silverado, and they have that song "Measure of a Man" where I did a video to it, and it comes out, and I'm just like, it's that whole like, I like it. Maybe it's just my brain. Because like Ramstein, like bum 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 bum.
Yeah,
A lot of mandolin play. They do the trilling, and it's not all consistent, and it just makes my mind melt. Because I'm used to like,
right.
and but I know why it's there. It just
For
doesn't
sure.
jive with me. But I didn't
Yeah.
realize it was tuned like that. Because my buddy had one, and I was like, no, I don't even know.
Yeah, next time if you ever pick one up, just think of it as an upside down guitar and like fret it accordingly, and you'll start making familiar sounds. And I mean, it'll take some getting used to because it is still like upside down and like you have to flip your brain, but that's how it made it easier for me to at least start somewhere and like, okay, well, if I know the song is in this key, I know these are like three chords that are in that key, and then these are like some simple melodic lines that would work. And I could kind of like, whether or not they sounded good, you gotta kind of trial and error, but
Yeah.
that's
Well,
how I learned to tinker on mandolin. I have one, and I mean, I don't play it that much, but because I'm kind of like you, like I like it, but there's not a lot of my music that a mandolin would fit in per se.
yeah,
It's like a
yeah,
very folk bluegrass kind of instrument.
yeah. Definitely, you're definitely way too heavy for that. Yeah, that'd be different. But yeah, like, do you have new music coming out, right? You have stuff you're working on
So
currently,
I
or
just put out that song "Shining."
trying?
I'm writing and I'm working on music, but I don't have a planned release. I've got some songs that are half or mostly finished. I would say you could probably look for another single release maybe before the end of the year or early next year. Um, it really just depends on how like when I would have like time to track it, you know. But yeah, I mean, could certainly. I'm always working on something, and like I'm working on. I'm always tracking. Like I did some session work for a couple people last week, like remotely. Like did one for a young country singer in New Braunfels, and I did some stuff for a buddy of mine that does like pop music out in Alabama. And I'm helping Pablo kind of produce one of his songs, and it's a little more of that than necessarily my music, but I'm always working on my music in between whatever else I got going on, just kind of when I find time. And I'm also kind of weird about when I do it, like because it's like I'll wait until I'm like really feeling it. A lot of writers, and this is the way you should be. You should, if you're a songwriter, you should write all the time. I'm not that. I got to be like, I want to work on this song, and I'll wait until that like kind of motivation strikes, and then I'll get into it. Because once I'm in a song and once I'm creative in that way, I'm obsessed, and I'll do a demo and I'll listen to it 100 times and I'll pick and choose and like until it's done, and then I'm done with it. It's like I have a different probably creative process than a lot of people, I would guess.
Yeah,
So
yeah, dude. What's cool is you have a lot. You have a lot out there.
I've
Like,
got a lot of music out there, man. Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, it's all. Man, there's a lot of songs you have that, man, the piano's so I love piano, and
Yeah.
it's so cool how, like the guitars and the piano play off each other, and it's really cool to hear like the dynamic of you,
Yeah.
especially like being a big fan Shane Smith and the Saints, then it's like it's cool when, like, you know what I mean? Like you type in, you know, your name and you're like, oh, there's another rabbit hole to go down. And
Yeah, dude, I got a lot of music out there.
yeah, and you get that side of you.
Yeah, man.
It's really cool, and it's good. I do enjoy
Well, I appreciate it, man.
a bunch of your tracks, man. It's like, but yeah, like I like Cold Shoulder. That's just
Yeah,
that's
one of my
the jam.
favorites.
Yeah,
One of
that's
my
pretty.
favorites for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, man, we've been talking for like an hour. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Ah, man, no, I think I'm good. I think we covered it all, and unless you have anything you want to touch on, I'm good.
Oh, see, I could talk to you all night. Dude, like I said, not everybody gets to talk to the guitar player in one of their favorite bands. I thank you for taking the
Oh, of
time.
course, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm glad we got to finally do this. I know we've been kind of back and forth about it for probably a couple years now. So
Yeah, dude. But yeah, I think the next time I'm gonna see, I'll be seeing you is
probably
I guess
Key
Miles
West.
Zero.
Yeah.
Hell
We don't
yeah.
have a ton between, like, I know we have some Texas stuff this month. We go to Australia in October. We're doing a festival with Whiskey Myers in November. I think we have almost like the whole month of November off. And then we're doing our Christmas shows in December. And then we've got one show with Lainey Wilson in Vegas. And like we're done until Mile Zero, I think. Or at least we might tour out to Mile Zero. I haven't looked at our schedule, but like between November and Key West, like we're pretty much off as far as I know. So yeah, that'll probably be the next time we'll see each other, at least
Yeah.
in person.
Yeah. I look forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be
That's
fun.
that's a great festival.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah. I enjoyed myself, and so did everybody. So did everybody else. It was
Yeah.
really cool to see,
Yeah.
like, because a lot of the musicians they're on like vacation. It was really cool
Sure.
to see people, like, let their guard down, and you get to be like, man, these people are fun. It was
Yeah, man.
it was a cool time. But yeah, dude, I hope to see you out there, and
Yeah, we'll be there.
yeah,
I'm sure you'll see me.
yeah. And we
I
get
will
to see
also be
Pop-Up.
having fun, like you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah, the first year I went, I ended up spending a bunch of time with Pablo, and he's fun.
He's a funny dude, man. I
Yeah,
love that guy.
he like tricked me into like holding this cup. It was like a 30-pound cup. He's like, I told the person you're gonna be standing right here with their cup. I'm like, okay, and like I was just standing there forever. I'm like,
That sounds like some shit he would do for sure.
come on. I was like, this is getting heavy, and I'm like, what's in it? I'm like, now I know I'm drinking somebody else's drink. Like, but yeah, it's a great time. And is there do you have any like solo shows before that or anything like
Man,
that?
I don't. I will probably start looking here in the next couple weeks for like some November and December stuff. I just haven't had a chance to like look at what we have and
Yeah.
kind of. I'll probably do some local Texas stuff in December and November where we have gaps. I also try to hop on openers if there's like a band that fits my style, if it's local, like at Green Hall or like Sam's Burger Joint in San Antonio, or like I always like to do Saxon Pub in Austin. So it just kind of depends. I haven't looked into it, but I will say before the year's over, I'll do a couple more solo
Nice.
shows somewhere in Texas, probably within the 100-mile radius of Austin and San Antonio if I can.
Nice. That's awesome.
And I'll let you
What?
know for sure when we do, if we got some. So,
Hell yeah. Thank you.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
dude, thanks for hopping on here and taking the
course.
time out.
Yeah, man.
It was great talking to you. And
Likewise, man. I enjoyed it.
yeah, so did I. And I'll see you at Mile Zero Fest.
Yes, sir. Cheers.
Yep. Well, thank you. Have a great rest of
you.
your
Yeah, you too, man. Thanks for
your
having me.
day. Yeah, man.
All right.
Hell yeah. I'll see you, Dustin.
See you, man.